for joining our new link. And we are excited to go ahead and get our meeting on the road for today. You guys know, for the most part, yes, I don't see any visitors as of right now. So you guys all know who I am. I am Jamil. Hello, Andrea. See you in the chat. Said hi to everybody, and good afternoon to everybody else who I haven't spoken to yet. I am going to go ahead and pass over the virtual mic to our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. David Jones, with the awesome background. And I just saw Alice Ann said I can't find the new link, so that's funny. Anyway, as I digress and try to get her the info that's been sent out twice, I will pass over to our Toastmaster of the day, who is Mr. David Jones. Go ahead, take it away, David.
Thank you, Mr. President. And if Alice Ann joins us, we will need one more evaluator if you're available. Jamil?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And with that, I will start. My theme for tonight is change, and change is always happening, and some of us embrace change and some of us don't. I've learned the hard way to embrace change at work. There's been times where I've been reluctant to it, and I ended up finding myself new jobs. But now whenever there's change, I always just say yes. I do what I'm told, and I support the managers, because basically if the manager says we're going to do this differently, we need to do this differently. And I do see some of my coworkers, because I work for a big company, there's like 30 people in my department, and we're on Zoom, and some of them are pushing back, and I'm like, that's a really bad idea. So we need to embrace change, even if we don't like it, and just move ahead. And as it relates to Toastmaster, we have change happening across the district and across the nation, basically, because the fiscal year is 7-1 to 7-1. So we're going to have Sarah Mary as South Park's new president. And we have new leadership, and I'm going to be a division director for Division C. So it's all good. So it's going to be fun to change. But of course, Jamil's always going to be there as immediate past president, helping and guiding her along the way. And with that, I want to hear from one of the most inspirational people I know, Sonia Pond. She's going to do our invocation. Sonia, take it away.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. My name is Sonia Pons-Gaba, and today I'm going to give a quote. I'm a quote girl about change, and this comes from Jimmy Dean. Some of you know him as a famous actor, a singer. I grew up eating his sausages, and he said this: I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. As David says, we're turning over a new season in Toastmasters. It's been a tough one. People did not appreciate the change. They weren't able to flex, as I say, with the changes, and there was a lot of disappointment. But if you didn't reach your goal, your educational goal, if your club, whether it's not this club, because we're select distinguished, if your club didn't meet the goals that they wanted to in terms of educational awards or membership, know that you have this opportunity starting July 1st to change yourselves, to go into your direction. Never, ever give up on an institution that's over 100 years old. If you trust the process, if you trust your teammates that are with you, you can endure the change. And with that, I will turn it back over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sonia. I appreciate that. And next up is going to be our timer. Debbie, you want to tell us about your role?
Yes, as timer, I am going to be the person that listens very carefully for the amount of time each of you speak. For details, we have 2 speeches today. I believe both speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes. Our evaluators of those speeches should be a 2 to 3 minute time frame. Table topics will be a 1 to 2 minute. General evaluator will be 3 to 4 minutes. And I am going to use, I haven't been a timer like in 2 years. I've avoided this role. So talking to Carla, we both had never done it. So I'm doing it today, and I'm going to use this app, and I'm going to hold it up, and I believe it's visible, but it's going to give a yellow when it's getting close to your time. It's going to give green when you are at your time, and then it's going to go to red when you're over your time. You all have a little wiggle room, but this is what I'm going to use. And then I have low tech backup if I need it, but I think this will work, and I look forward to your feedback. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Timer. And that's the good thing about Toastmasters. We get to try different things and sometimes fail, but it doesn't matter because we're here at Toastmasters. So we'll see how the timing device goes. Speaking of failing, I do not have a grammarian. She's not here. Looking for Janice. Maybe she's on the other site, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and do word of the day as change. So if we can just throw change in there, it should be fairly simple since that's the topic. And we'll have to self-monitor each other. Make sure we're not saying ums or ahs or you knows, which I'm sure I've already done 4 or 5 times. And with that, we're going to go ahead and start with our speakers. And right now we just have Sarah Mary, but she's also speaker number 1. And she's going from the Pathways Strategic Relationships Level 4 Public Relations Strategy, 5 to 7 minutes, and is the Maura Rose Public Relations. So please welcome Sarah Mary.
Hi, everyone. Jamil, really quick, John O'Connor is having some trouble. He would like the Zoom link as well. I don't know if anybody on the line has his contact, if y'all could go ahead.
I'll forward it to him.
Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me get my tech all squared away really quick. Been a lot of moving parts today. All right. Okay, hello everyone. As David said, my name is Sarah Mary, and what I am talking about today is the Moira Rose Public Relations. So many of you might have heard of the show Schitt's Creek. I have watched it more times than I care to admit, but I love it. And I've heard public relations described in many different ways. Some people have called it gatekeeping. Some people have called it spinning. Some people have called it looking on the bright side. But I think essentially what it is it's telling a really good story about your company, your brand, who you are, and what you stand for. And I think in many ways, Moira Rose does this incredibly well. And sometimes she does it pretty bad. But I think no matter what, we can learn a lot from her failures and her successes. So what I'd like to do today is go through a few things that I have learned by watching Moira Rose, her public relations. So the 3 topics that I have learned from Moira in public relations is 1, answer the question you want to answer. 2, be on time. And 3, crystallize your message. So let's just dig right in. Answer the question you want to answer. Oftentimes, this is not the question that the press or the media will be asking you. Especially if you're talking about a controversial topic, it's possible that the press may try to corner you or give you an either or question that'll put you in a really tight spot. So it's important that you're always answering the question you want to answer. Moira does this really well. She goes to a fundraising event at a hotel and she ends up winning her town a lot of money. And I want to show you how she manages the press's questions.
Excuse me, Mrs. Rose, if I may, just a couple of questions. Are you surprised to get such a big boost for the municipalities? That was quite a speech. Oh, thank you, thank you. What did I do? Well, I simply channeled some of the chaos. But if you insist on referring to me as a bitch, then I'll take that. That's right, we're
So as you can see, Moira does a couple things really well here. The first thing she does really well is that she coins a soundbite for herself. So she not only gives herself a nickname, the linchpin, but that can turn out to be a really incredible headline. She also rephrases the question. So the question was asked, were you shocked that you got such a large amount of funding? First of all, Moira Rose was not shocked. She knew she could get that funding, but she also didn't want to say that because that might come off a little arrogant. Not that she cares about that much, but she rephases the question. Instead of answering, were you shocked at how much funding you got? She answered, what did I do? And she explained her method. She channeled someone who cared. That's what Moira Rose does. So she coined a soundbite, got a great headline, and answered the question she wanted to answer. The main lesson that we learned from her is to know your message and stay on point. When you know your message, every question you answer should be directed back to that single main point. The second lesson is be on time. The press will not wait forever. In today's day and age, we have a matter of minutes before one news story becomes old news and a new one breaks. In the past, maybe you have 24 hours. Nowadays, you have a matter of moments, and you need to have your story prepared and be ready. So Moira, again, this is one of her blunders. Whenever she realizes that the internet thinks that she is dead, she goes into a PR spin. So she realizes that the press have arrived at the motel that she is living at, and she isn't ready to give her story yet. So she is deciding whether she should lie, tell the truth, make up some fantastical tale, and she's working it out with the curator of the motel, Stevie. So I'd like to show you what she does here.
What about telling the truth? Truth serum. Yes, those stories are always successful. No, I meant the actual truth. I've been reading what people have been saying about you. They're going to be really happy you're still around. Now, I don't think loyalty was ever a question. Then why not come forward and be honest about where you are? Stevie, I don't. You can't have reporters knocking me out there forever. This is your chance to tell your own story in your own words. Like we did during the breakfast. You have the opportunity to create your own headline. What about?
So here, as you can see, Stevie's the real hero. She's the one that really understands the power of having the opportunity to tell your own story. Stevie explains to Moira that it's so important for her to have her own headline, to tell the story she wants to tell, to share the message that is meaningful to her. But unfortunately, Moira takes so long to get dressed, and she takes so much time to get her story together that by the time she steps outside, the press are gone. She wasn't ready to share her story. Now, what you need to understand is that the story about Moira Rose's death broke that morning. She had an entire day to wrap her head around this and get her story together, to think that perhaps a TV media studio may show up and want to know what's going on, but she wasn't ready. So the lesson is that you always need to be ready. When the story breaks, get your message together, because you need to stay relevant. And like we talked about, you'll only have a matter of moments to do that, especially in today's day and age. So you need to be ready and you need to be relevant. The last lesson, crystallize your message, because it's incredibly hard to change after it's already been disseminated. Let's watch Moira Rose. So she makes one more blunder here. Moira is headlining a fundraiser that her town is putting on. It's called the Asbestos Fest. The town is trying to get rid of the asbestos infestation in their town by hosting a fundraiser and headlining Moira Rose. Unfortunately, Moira is trying to make a last-minute PR change and driving the director absolutely crazy.
Although, Jocelyn, I'm wondering, does TV's Moira Rose send a different message than television's Moira Rose? Something to think about. I said something to think about. Hello, you.
So as you can see, Moira is asking the director to make a very last-minute change, and one that really isn't substantial. Because the reality is that while television's Moira Rose, rather than TV's Moira Rose, might sound a bit more sophisticated, it doesn't really do much to change the overall messaging of the poster or the flyer or the public relations they're trying to share. It also could be very costly, because once you've printed these words on a paper, now you're going to have to pay to undo it all. So the lesson here is that you need to get your branding right the first time. You need to know how you want to present yourself, how you want everything to sound, and before you print it onto paper or flyers or invitations, make sure you got it just right, because changing it will be costly and potentially ineffective if you do it too last minute. So Moira Rose Publications, the 3 lessons: answer the question you want to answer. That means don't get trapped in weird questions or trapping questions. Make sure you're staying on your message, and every question you answer is directed back to your main point. Be on time, because your relevancy will go away very quickly, especially in today's day and age. And crystallize that message so that you don't have to make costly or last minute changes to something that, you know, really doesn't matter that much. With that, that is Moira Rose Public Relations, and I hope that it helps you navigate your businesses and branding a little bit better. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. That was very creative and fun. When you said Moira Rose, I didn't know you actually meant the show, so that was fun. I see Dr. Alice Ann is on, and we're going to go ahead and turn over to her speech. I'm not sure what the speech is, but it'll be inspirational and fun. So take it away, Dr. Alice Ann.
Thank you so much. Okay, do you see this picture?
Yes.
And everyone back of my screen?
Yes.
Okay. And this is what I walked in on. He's a bloody mess. No one could tell me what happened to him. I walked in, he's sitting in a wheelchair, he's full of blood. Clothes are soaked, blood in his hair, blood on his face, blood everywhere. I just wanted to share today from team collaboration, connect with storytelling, level 3, 5 to 7 minutes. My story is 100 days. My husband's been in a nursing home 100 days. And I was told on Friday, no, this happened Saturday, I needed legal guardianship for someone to talk to me, to tell me what happened to my husband. I've been his wife for 38 years. You've been talking to me for 100 days. You see me every single day. Why all of a sudden I need legal guardianship for you to tell me what happened to my husband? I was recently informed because of the HIPAA law, they can't tell me. Okay, the HIPAA law prohibits agencies and hospitals to give your personal health-related issue information to anyone else. I didn't think that applied to me. I found out that a legal guardianship is I have to petition the court for the judge to give me a right to make decisions for my husband, who is still in his right frame of mind. I cannot request his paperwork, his medical history, or anything while he's in his nursing home. I decided we were going to get around that. Husband, I need you to request your information. They can't deny you. After my husband requests his information, they told me I had to wait until Monday. We can talk to the administrator. We can talk to the nurse and the head nurse in order to give my husband his own information. It's been 100 days. I need to get my husband out of this place. I don't know exactly what I need to do, but I do know that I have an appointment with a lawyer at 2:30 this afternoon, because someone needs to talk to me and tell me what happened to my husband. My husband said not to be worried, not to over-exaggerate, not to overreact. I tend to be a calm person. Most of the time. I do tend to go overboard when it comes to him, however. I just need to know what happened to him. Why is it that I walk in and see this? Why is it that he has a strict diet because he's on a list to get a transplant? So his diet has to be regulated and make sure that he eats only things that's going to benefit him. One of the things my husband cannot have is potato. They give him potatoes every day. And on Sunday, I walked in, he had sloppy joes and French fries. And I said, excuse me, on this list, it says no potato and no tomato products. Why do my husband have potatoes? The lady lifted up the tray and said, oh, Miss Crump, you don't have to worry. He didn't have potatoes, he had French fries. Really? What is French fries made of? Okay, I'm going to calm down. Since this is the weekend and I know this is not your fault, so you did not prepare the meal. I will be talking to someone Monday morning. This morning, the administrator called me and said, Ms. Crump, please calm down. We're working on everything that we need to. But that was only after the call. Because even before I met him, I explained my situation. She said, let me give a call. Now I'm phone call. Now someone wants to tell me what happened to my husband. Now someone wants to explain to me why he's a bloody mess. I haven't been to see him just yet today, but I am going to see him. It is really out of control. These past 100 days has been extremely hard. I've just found out, even though I've been married for 38 years, I don't have a right to find out what happened to him unless I have some paperwork. So I'm going to get a power of attorney. I'm going to get the legal guardianship. I'm going to get everything that I need and an advocate for him. Because obviously someone is not taking care of what needs to be taken care of. And in the meantime, I'm looking for a place to transfer him from. Because he still needs dialysis. And they can't release him unless he is in a place that he can have dialysis. More red tape. This is my story. I'm really trying to take care of my husband the best way I know how, since I can't do it from home. Anyone have any advice, any information, I am all ears, because I need to take care of this husband of mine, because he's been in this place for 100 days. And it's time for me to leave this place. Take care of him a little bit more. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Looks like you have an assistant there helping you out. So that's nice to have somebody comforting you and be there along your journey. So that's great. And can I get a timers report on our two speakers real quick? Deb? And you're muted.
Sarah Mary, her speech was approximately 8 minutes, and Dr. Crump, she clocked in at 6 minutes and 35 seconds.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Timer. And since we're still missing John, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Jeremy. He's going to be our table topics master, and then you can just roll into your general evaluator after that, so I can take a break. So take it away, Jeremy.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So I jumped at this opportunity to be the table topics master because I love Stephen Colbert. And if you watch Stephen Colbert, you know that he does something called the Colbert questionnaire, which he describes as 15 questions that have been developed by the folks in his staff to immediately get to the heart and soul of every person that takes the Colbert questionnaire. So we will not be able to get to the heart and soul of everyone because I can't ask all of you all 15 questions, but I do want to give a sampling of those questions. So beginning with Carla. Carla, what is the best sandwich?
What is the best sandwich?
Yes.
I have a great answer for this. An ironed cheese with mayonnaise on whole wheat bread sandwich. This is a sandwich I used to have when I was a teenager, because the ironing board back then, if you don't know what an ironing board is, it's this board that you use to iron on to straighten your clothes. But an ironing board was always out in our house. And you would take whole wheat bread, put mayo on it, 2 pieces of cheddar, put another piece of whole wheat bread on it, wrap it in aluminum foil, and then place your iron on top of it in the aluminum foil and let it sit for about 2 minutes. It made the creamiest, gooeyest, most delicious sandwich that you could possibly imagine. Just thinking about it, my mouth is kind of watering a little bit because I haven't had one in a long time, because guess what? I don't have an iron or an ironing board anymore because I just don't iron or do anything like that. And I would like to say that I recommend everybody try this. Just don't burn your house down. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you. I cannot see the timer, so I'll assume I've done a minute. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Carla. Let's see, Jamil. What is one thing you own that you really should throw out?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. What is one thing that I own that I really should throw out? First, I thought you said grow out, and I was going to say, you know, I could grow my hair out again, but that's not the question. You said throw out. Yes, back in the day, I had the Snoop Dogg cornrows, but that was in high school and shortly after, and I am no longer there. I know some of the things that I should throw out or maybe give away or donate. It's probably some of the clothes that I've had almost going back to high school. You know, you're talking about some of these t-shirts that's got holes in them, way too small and faded, all of that good stuff. I should get rid of them. Some of the jackets that I have, you know, jackets, some of them you don't wear that often, so it's easy to just store them in the closet. You can keep them for years and years, but they are old. So probably my wardrobe, I need to do some cleansing of the drobe, but it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday's closing. And I don't want to. I don't want to clear it out. Therefore, it stays in there. The old ratty clothes from 1999. It should be gone, but I have it. So anyway, I should be throwing out clothes, but it's tough to do. Tough to do. Back to you, Mr. Table Topic Semester.
Thank you, Jamil. I agree with you. That's one of those things that's hard to get rid of. Let's see. Debbie,
Yes.
what is the scariest animal?
Scariest animal. Scariest animal to me is a snake. I don't know why, but snakes, I've only seen a couple up close and personal. Maybe while hiking, I might see a snake, or in the yard, I might see a snake. And sometimes they're little bitty baby ones. And then sometimes out on the hiking trail, I have seen 4 feet, 5 feet big snakes. So I just, I hate them. And they stay on my mind a lot because I hate them so much. So if I'm any place where I might see one, I'm always thinking about them, and I'm looking down so that I don't accidentally surprise one. I know they don't like to be surprised. I know copperheads are kind of and rattlesnakes we have around here. The king snake or the black snake, they say are cool. You want those in your yard because they eat the bad snakes. So anyway, I am alert for snakes, and I know they do a lot of good things in the world, but I just don't want to get too close to one or get bit by one. So with that, I am going to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. It looks like we've got plenty of time, right? Should we keep going?
Yep.
Let's see. Some folks have their cameras off. I don't know how close by they may be. Sonia, are you there?
I am here.
All right. Sonia, apples or oranges?
That's a great question. Thank you so much. Apples or oranges? I'm going to have to say oranges. You can pretty much mix anything with oranges or orange juice. And in this time in our country, a little bit of vodka, a little bit of rum would go fantastic. So I am going to go with oranges. Not only do they give you nourishment, and Sarah Mary is going to say, hell yeah, they give us nourishment because they're a part of this green and colorful plate that she wants to encourage us to have. Vitamin C is there. It's something that we know about. It brings up joy of the morning, new opportunities, new expectations. The color is vibrant, but it also is soothing in times of chaos. So I am going to have to go with oranges because they just taste so good. And when you mix them with a little bit of liquor, they're quite soothing. So thank you for that question.
That is a excellent distinguishing factor for oranges. I can appreciate that. Andrea, are you there? All right. Well, how about this? Let's go with David.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I couldn't get to mute the mic.
No problem. Andrea, have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
I have. I've asked people for their autograph, but the one time I wish I had have asked for an autograph is when I met my favorite singer, Stevie Wonder. He came in our church. I wasn't in the choir stand at that time because the adult choir, the senior choir was up, and I was clapping. And I saw this face. And if you've ever seen Stevie Wonder, his face is like 4 inches long. It's huge. And so I see out the corner of my eye this face, and I'm like, that looks like Stevie Wonder. So I turn to my right and I'm like, hallelujah. Because I almost started screaming like I was like I was a teenager and I was at the theater. So I wish I had have asked him for his autograph, but he wasn't giving autographs that day. But he heard me singing with him, and he said, you have such a beautiful voice. Who is that singing right there? And he can't see, but he can hear very distinctively. And because he heard my voice and said I had a beautiful voice, I will never forget that. He gave me a hug and kissed me on my cheek, and I didn't want to wash it for weeks. Thank you for your time, Mr. Topics Master.
Wow, that's awesome. I would say that's even better than an autograph.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so that was quite a few. I guess we should move on at this point. So moving into my general evaluator role. Let's see. Our evaluator for Sarah Mary is Carla. So take it away, Carla.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to evaluate you, Sarah Mary. First of all, I loved your speech. I loved your enthusiasm. I found it to be very interesting. You made me change something, and that is that I watched this show one time and didn't like it, and I was never going to watch it again. The reason I didn't like it is because it was so poor judgment among many people. It annoyed me, but I will go back and now I'm going to watch it because I'll see it from different eyes. So thank you for that. I liked your slides. I thought you did a really good job with those slides. I don't know if anybody else had this problem. I was in the car. I could not hear the voices of the video. So, and you didn't recap them really. So I didn't even, I don't know if everybody else could hear them, but I couldn't. So either I'm telling you that it's something you might want to work on, or I'm the only one and you don't have to work on. I would just find out. So I like your slide. I like that you repeated each idea about 3 different times, so it really sunk in on what we have to do to be good at branding. And I like the fact that you used her as an example. At the beginning, you had great vocal intonation, you had great energy, not just at the beginning, throughout. One of the things I would I observed and you can think about is that at the beginning, your hands were all over the place. And I believe you were sitting the whole time. So sometimes they were under, sometimes they were over. And they seemed not intentional, but they seemed like my hands right now moving. After a while, I started seeing you do very specific hand movements, and those contributed more to the overall program. So I think that great story, great visuals, really good ideas to snatch from her and to share with us. And so I think those were all good. I thought your speech was very organized. I observed it from beginning to end. The flow worked very well, and that was good. At the end, you wrapped it up. One of the things you might want to work on, if there was a call for action to us, it wasn't very pronounced. It wasn't very overt. It was sort of maybe slipped in there, and that's something you might want to think of when you're working a call for action. Overall, it was great. I would like to hear it again with the sound from the show, except for that I am going to go watch the show. Great job, great story. I'm inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Carla. All right, and Jamil is going to evaluate Dr. Alice Ann. So take it away, Jamil.
Yes, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Alice Ann, I noticed right off the bat that you started out with the visual aid. That was been one of the things in the past that when you've told great speeches, and this one was another one with a different type of energy, vibe, emotion. In the past, one of the areas of improvement has been visual aid, and you started off right off the bat with the visual aid and also using it as a background. It was a constant reminder of the story that you were telling. So it kept it out in front of us, as the project speech was a storytelling project speech. So you definitely nailed it with the visual aid, although it's a heartfelt speech and heartfelt situation. Terrible. I don't know how you go through day to day and still do speeches with all this on your heart, all this on your mind, but somehow, some way you keep doing it. So even though it was a heavy subject and it's a very delicate situation, you still found a crafty way of delivering the story. And you also, the way you delivered the story, because it was heartfelt, your energy and emotion and expression during the story matched. It is not a light and lighthearted, and it's not a joking situation. So if you would have come across like this is no big deal, this is silly, a lot of laughter, it would not have been congruent with actually what's going on. So you definitely matched and nailed it from a delivery standpoint. However, you did interject a point of humor when the lady made the comment about potatoes and French fries. You change your vocal variety. It's crazy that people said that. Yeah, French fries, not potatoes. What in the world is going on? But you creatively, well, you use vocal variety. You said, really? And you expressed how that moment felt. I'm sure you're ready to reach across and snatch her across the table or express yourself in that manner, which would have not been the proper thing to do. But you definitely use vocal variety where it made sense. And then in closing, you even summarized it and said the time period, the 100 days that your husband has been there. And you even said, this is my story, which sometimes people have said in the past when they've told a story and say, this is my story and I'm sticking to it, or this is my story. It's a different way of saying in closing or in summary, you just said, this is my story. So that was also very well done. I'm reaching, Alice Ann, on an area to improve, I just think it was a great story. our thoughts and prayers are with you through this situation. I know you've been through a lot over the past year, and the dust has not settled as of yet, but you still continue to motivate, encourage, and inspire just by your presence and the way you still deliver speeches no matter what. So thank you for that. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jamil. And let's see, our timer is Debbie, of course. Debbie, could you please provide a timer's report?
You're muted, Debbie.
Thank you. All right, we already heard how long our speeches were, so I'm going to move into our table topics. Jamil, you came in at 1 minute, 26 seconds. Sonia was 1 minute. Andrea was 1 minute, 24 seconds. Carla, I have no idea because I was multitasking and I cannot multitask it when I'm timing. So I apologize, and I don't know how long I took either. So, so that's table topics. Then with evaluations, Carla, you came in when you evaluated Sarah Mary at 2 minutes, 37 seconds. And Jamil, you came in at 3 minutes and 37 seconds. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And let's see. David, do you want to give a grammarian report since you kind of jumped in on that role?
Everybody did great.
Wait, sorry. Before you do that, let me just say, I appreciate the change today.
There you go. Actually, I did not keep track. I was multitasking like Deb too. Therefore, everybody self-monitored and did great.
All right. Thank you, David. Well, just as the final task in my general evaluator role, I'll say that I think we had a great meeting today. I think that the table topics were fascinating and very well presented. And with that, I'll hand it back to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that was a great general evaluation. And I'd like to turn it back to our presiding president because I'd like to hear some words of wisdom from him for Sarah Mary, changing of the guard, coming in as president, things that he's learned and what he knows. And also I'm going to be becoming president of High Altitude Advanced Toastmaster. So any wisdom, any knowledge you can share to us about becoming president, I'd appreciate it, Jamil.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Words of wisdom. One of the things that I've noticed is to glean or learn from other clubs and bring those best practices into the new role that you're in. That's one of the things that I have found that's helped me in the past. Toastmasters have different people at different levels who have different experiences, and they've reached, some of them, the DTM level. Some of them may not have reached DTM, but have been in Toastmasters for a long time. Some people know the rules, the policies, the Roberts rules, and they're able to provide that information if you give them the platform. So definitely you want to continue to use best practices that you have learned and that other people have learned in your president role. The other thing too is, and I found this out over time, don't feel like you have to be president. One of the best things that I've been able to do is, when I felt that pressure over time, I've heard people just chime in and give information, and I realized some people are just more knowledgeable, just better in other areas. You would think this is just simple management 101, but sometimes people don't realize that Toastmasters is similar. It's a similar form of management. You don't want to manage the other Toastmaster officers, just collaborate with them and work together with them, give them opportunities to do what they are doing well at, and continue learning, use it as an opportunity to, as you find out from the different trainings in TLI, and this is not just for the president role, this is for any role. As you find out from the different trainings, you'll get more information there. You also get a chance to network and meet some other people in different clubs, but the president role, it can be a very rewarding and fulfilling role, but I found out, and I was happy and relieved to find out that you don't have to know it all, you don't have to do it all, but you can learn and grow in the president role. So I'm looking forward to both of you taking over the reins and stepping into the next level of your Toastmaster careers. And I think you're going to do great. You both have a lot of value to add in your respective roles, and you're very much on fire as Toastmasters. So you continue to light the many fires around you. So you can have one big fire. Got to call the fire department. So, all right. So that is my mini speech of the day, my motivational. That part of me will hopefully never change. And I look forward to other people continuing to grow in their respective roles as well. So, all righty. Before we close the meeting, we can probably give people a couple minutes back. Is there any other announcements or anything that we want to go ahead and put out on the table? We do have our new slate of officers that have already been submitted to Toastmasters International, which has been great. So we have that knocked out, but I just want to leave room for anybody else who has, if we have anything else to add.
I don't know if it's official, but on the Toastmasters official dashboard, we are select distinguished, and Valencia has a distinguished area. And so we want to celebrate her. She did a fantastic job leading us this year. So wherever she is, congratulations, Valencia.
Yes, very true. And she's one of our newest members too. So she felt so at home that she's joined South Park Toastmasters. So you guys have done a great job of creating that family environment. Awesome. Thank you for that, Sonia. Dr. Allison, did you have a comment? Did I see your hand raised earlier? Did you want to add something?
I was just saying, woo, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're just raising the roof over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
I need some good news every once in a while. I'm going through a lot.
Yes.
There's some great news to celebrate.
Yes, it is. And that is, one of the things that I found too is just as you get to know different members, we actually do start to turn into different friendships that can come out of Toastmasters. Doesn't mean that you're going to be friends, best friends. You're not going to be grilling out necessarily with everybody you go to a meeting with. That's not the case, but there's a handful of people that are reaching out and connecting, and you might be able to just stay in touch. So that is one of the other beneficial things of Toastmasters. So good deal. Anything else? Anything else? Going once, going twice. I believe that is all. All right. Well, listen, you guys have a great rest of the week. Y'all stay encouraged and continue to put time into yourself. Make sure you prioritize some me time in there somewhere. I know we have a lot of things that we do for people, whether it's for our companies, whether it's for our families. Make sure you carve out some me time so you can be better versions to be able to do what you do. And with that, I am signing off as president. No, Debbie, you had your chance. I gave you a few minutes a minute ago.
Well, next Monday's a holiday, so we don't meet.
Good point.
Right?
Good point.
And then
Great
anyway,
point.
And thank you for everything, Jamil. You've done a great job, and I know you'll always be there for all of us, and we appreciate you.
Y'all try to make a brother cry on the camera. Thank you, Debbie.
We love you, Jamil.
Oh, stop it now. Shut it down now. Thank you all.
We love you, Sarah Mary. Congratulations.
I love you guys. Thank you. Best mentor.
Have a good holiday.
All right, y'all.
Happy holidays, everyone.
All right.
Bye. Holidays.
In a couple weeks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.